I can see everyone's secrets and desires. Lie, the poorest student in our class. He's actually the richest, the lost only son of his family. Or the art teacher who seems like a gentleman, but secretly hooks up with countless female students. But what really surprised me was our school's cold and aloof beauty. 3 days ago, she walked past me after dance practice, and a string of info appeared above her head. First, get a puppy. Second, move out of the dorm. Third, find a man who can keep a secret, and have a stable, secret relationship with me. Fourth, get completely drunk without restraint. Fifth, I don't want to go back to the dorm tonight. Seeing this, my mind went blank, and I suddenly asked her, I know a bar nearby. Want to go for a drink? Luo Qingxue tilted her head in surprise. Right now, in the dead silence of the hallway, I could almost hear my own heartbeat. Then I saw on Luo Qingxue's desire list, the originally low-ranked get drunk and don't go back to dorm immediately shot up to first and second place. Just then, she squinted slightly, and softly said to me, oh cool. My heart was in turmoil, because I realized this all seemed real. So I took her to night bar. Even though it was late at night, the place was still buzzing. I ordered some drinks, and we chatted while drinking. My eyes scanned the dance floor. Everywhere I looked, I could see from everyone's head what they were thinking, even their subconscious desires. Lie, that 6 out of 10 girl at a booth. She held a glass, her hair a mess, swaying to the beat, shaking her body wildly. Her first desire. Her boyfriend cheated, she's in a bad mood, wants to find a random guy to duo all night for revenge. And right in front of that girl, sat a quiet girl in a white backless dress, and high heels. Next to her, a man with slicked back hair, looking like some corporate executive, leaning in to whisper something in her ear. Her first desire is, welcome to the AIDS family, and that executive, clueless about his fate. His desire list is, drink up, after this glass, I'll take both you and your career. The bar was all neon lights. Colored lights reflected on everyone's faces. Some were sleazy, some crazy, some het pie, some in pain. 1,000 faces. As I watched all this, I flashed a very crazy smile. Half an hour ago, I was just a poor DRA student, but now, I feel like fate's wheel is starting to turn. What are you looking at? Luo Qingxue downed her drink, and looked at me thoughtfully. She didn't know why, but today I seemed really charming. That kind of confidence that controls everything around. My gaze returned to her. I didn't answer her question. Instead, I asked, why don't you want to go back to the dorm? Luo Qingxue was startled by my sudden question. How do you know I don't want to go back? I raised my glass and said playfully, if you wanted to go back, would you come out drinking with me? Luo Qingxue quickly laughed, thinking I guessed it because of that. I don't want to go back, just because I don't want to lie with those girls in the dorm anymore. They always gossip behind my back, saying I'm a kept woman, or that I do escort work for money and fame. I was stunned. That was indeed my impression of Luo Qingxue too. She pursed her lips, then continued, with my family's background, why would I need to be an escort? To avoid suspicion, I even have to walk a kilometer from school to drive my own car home. And still, those women won't shut up. Hearing this, my impression of her suddenly changed. So that's it. I never thought she was not only beautiful, but also a little rich girl. I remember from the start of school, she caused quite a stir. Then she kept a low profile after that. Besides the rumors of her being kept, or secretly doing escort work off campus, she didn't have many other scandals. At least, I'm sure, she never really had a boyfriend at school. But a girl with such good conditions, why would she want a long-term, stable duo partner? And it's the third item on her desire list. Su Chin Sr., why did you suddenly want to treat me to a drink? Luo Qingxue rested her chin on her hand. Her beautiful eyes stared at me intently. I smiled slightly, not avoiding her gaze. I even felt a bit mischievous. If I read out her desire list now, what would she do? So I immediately said, because I'm planning to move out soon, and I want to get a puppy. As soon as I said that, Luo Qingxue's eyes lit up, and I continued, also, because I want to get completely drunk tonight. Luo Qingxue's eyes grew even brighter. Then let's drink until we're both wasted. Just then, a man walked over with a glass. He was originally going to approach Luo Qingxue, but seeing me beside her, he chose to head toward the girl who wanted to get back at her boyfriend. Seeing me staring at that girl, Luo Qingxue laughed. What, is she prettier than me? I shook my head. No, I just feel so for her. Why? Because she's about to be drugged and taken away. Luo Qingxue was shocked. She looked at my calm face in disbelief, then turned to look at the girl with me. I didn't say much, because I knew that man's desire was to drug, inject, and control her, then make her work as a prostitute. The next moment, Luo Qingxue saw the man chatting up the girl, and sure enough, he dropped some powder into her glass. Luo Qingxue got anxious. How do you know that? I certainly wouldn't say I can see people's desire lists, so I made up an excuse, because I saw it in advance. What should we do? Should we tell her? As she said this, Luo Qingxue stood up, but I grabbed her hands tightly. Those guys over there are his accomplices. It's useless for you to go, and we don't need to meddle, because her boyfriend is already here. Luo Qingxue looked up at the bar entrance. Sure enough, an anxious guy rushed in. He scanned the place for his girlfriend. Oh my god, Luo Qingxue stared at me in SOC. She couldn't figure out how I knew all this, and why I kept such a low profile at school. Let's go. Looks like a fight's about to break out. I pulled her away. Before the guy found his girlfriend, I had already left the bar with Luo Qingxue. Late at night, we stood on the street. The bar's Miodike blared behind us. The next second, screams erupted from the bar. Then the Miodike stopped abruptly, followed by the sound of bottles breaking. A fight, just as you said. Luo Qingxue's mouth hung open the whole way. Suchin Sr., what are you? How do you know all this? How can you know everything? I hailed attack 11, turned back and smiled at her. Didn't your acting teacher teach you? The most important foundation of acting is observing people. I lie to notice details, so I can roughly guess someone's thoughts, from their behavior, expressions, and eyes. Luo Qingxue stared at me dumbfounded. Then Su Chen Sr., can you guess what I want to do now? A smile curled at the corner of my mouth. Driver, to Wanda Vista Hotel. Then I turned and looked at her playfully. So, is this what you want? Luo Qingxue suddenly giggled. She didn't feel any resistance, just thought I seemed really interesting. Shrouded in mystery, her eyes flickered, glancing at me now and then. Various thoughts popped into her mind. Meanwhile, I was calculating everything from today. Though it was exciting, it was also too unexpected. It was almost the end of the month. I had no money in my pocket. Probably only about 1,000 in WeChat. Luckily, I still had a credit card with a 10,000 limit. Taking a girl like Luo Qingxue to a hotel, I couldn't just book a budget place. That would be too cheap. We both had our own thoughts. Until the driver hit the brakes. I looked up and saw the Wanda Vista Hotel entrance. After Luo Qingxue got out, she suddenly grabbed me. Want to bring a bottle up? I looked at her with a half smile. Wasn't the drinking enough? For some reason, Luo Qingxue was now a bit nervous. I didn't mind. Women, even if they occasionally want to do something wild, when it's about to happen, they get nervous. I could understand her mood. I continued leading her into the hotel. It's fine. We'll just order room service. In no time, the front desk handed me the key card. I took it, turned and led Luo Qingxue to the elevator. Never before had I felt this sense of control over my life. An hour ago, I was envying others' lives. But in an instant, the rich and beautiful campus queen of the DRA department was leaning on me. The elevator arrived. Two Instagram-face girls with small bags walked past us. High-end escorts? I thought to myself, I'd only heard of them before, never seen them in person. Today, I ran into two at once. On a normal day, I'd sneak a few glances, maybe even think they were goddesses. But ever since I got these eyes, no matter what woman, I see right through them. So facing two top-tier escorts, I showed no reaction. This impressed Luo Qingxue, who had been watching me. She was a beauty herself, and from a wealthy family. She'd met plenty of rich playboys. Too many, in fact. But she'd never seen a man like me, who didn't stare at beautiful women. This made Luo Qingxue feel very satisfied. Once in the room, I ordered 2 bottles of red wine from room service, then sat comfortably on the sofa. The floor-to-ceiling window showed the Huangpu River view. I instantly felt like I was in control of my life, but Luo Qingxue seemed a bit lost. She stood on the soft carpet, not knowing where to put her hands. Looking at my handsome figure and face, her heart pounded. Wanting to do it and actually doing it are two completely different things. I have to say, Luo Qingxue was chickening out. I looked up and noticed her awkwardness. My heart softened. It was clear this girl had no experience. I didn't have much either. But I could see her thoughts any time. So in this relationship, I had the upper hand. I'll change into slippers first. Luo Qingxue walked to the closet, took off her sneakers and put on slippers. After changing, she seemed to have composed herself, took a deep breath, then said, Suchin Sr., I've never done this before. So please don't tell anyone about us. Let it be our secret. Luo Qingxue was actually a virgin. The rumors about her at school were completely baseless. Thinking this, I couldn't help but be curious about her, because she was so nervous now. Her first desire was just to drink. The more, the better. To let go of all her defenses and inhibitions. Because of that, I couldn't see her other thoughts yet, so I nodded. Of course, I'll keep it secret. Just then, the doorbell rang. The waiter brought 2 bottles of red wine. The next moment, we sat by the window, enjoying the night view of the Huangpu River. Maybe in this private atmosphere, or because of the wine, Luo Qingxue gradually relaxed. She laughed heartily at my jokes. Almost every word I said hit the mark, a feeling she'd never had in over 20 years. Soon, one bottle was empty. Luo Qingxue's tipsy eyes locked on me. The next moment, she closed her eyes. Her chest heaving, she kissed me. 10,000 words omitted here. When I woke up the next morning, it was around 1 in the afternoon. I sat up and looked around. Luo Qingxue was gone, so I lay back down. My phone buzzed. I picked it up and saw a message from Luo Qingxue. Suchen Sr., time to wake up. I have a casting interview in Beijing today, so I caught a flight without waking you. I smiled and replied, got it. Safe travels. After sending that, I briefly recalled last night's bliss, then finally got out of bed. Luo Qingxue was indeed a first-timer. I felt her moves were clumsy, but very, very proactive. So proactive it surprised me. Maybe it's because rich girls grow up in too much pressure. I didn't dwell on it. Now that I had this power, using it just to read women's minds would be a waste. Besides, my wallet was empty. For the life ahead, I'd try everything I'd ever dreamed of, and things I'd never even thought of. But all this needed a lot of money. As they say on Lie, only money can make you het pie. The world is unfair. Just lie those 2 escorts. If I hadn't spent that much last night, and come here, I'd never have touched real high society. Even though this is just the bottom layer of the upper class, it's still something a 22-year-old poor student could ever understand. That rotten, luxurious, enviable high society was a life I'd never experienced before. After a moment, I pulled out my phone and made a call. Zhang Yu, where are you? I'm on a shoot in Sanya. Bro, what's up? There was noise on the other end, and Zhang Yu's deliberately lowered voice. I scolded him. Cut the crap. You're at a casino, aren't you? Don't give me that on-set nonsense. Zhang Yu is my classmate. He often borrows money from the dorm to gamble. He still owes me 2,000. When I needed to make money, Zhang Yu was the first person I thought of. Bro, how did you know? This time, I'm just trying a small bet. Enough. Where in Sanya are you? I want to try my luck too. I cut him off. Zhang Yu was clearly stunned. He thought I hated gambling. Why would I want to gamble now? After hanging up, I left immediately. Zhang Yu never tells the truth. He said he was in Sanya on set, then said he was in Sanya. But when he heard I was really coming, he quickly admitted he was actually in Shanghai. 2 hours later, I met Zhang Yu at a shabby restaurant in Suwei district. He was in a hoodie, looking haggard, his eyes bloodshot. Bro, are you really going to gamble? Let's not talk about that. I ordered noodles. I sized him up. Zhang Yu's desire list. First, borrow 500,000 cash to pay off debts. Second, stop Su Chen from gambling, or he'll end up like me, buried in debt with nowhere to go. Third, go all in tonight. Try to turn things around in one night, and never gamble again. As his roommate for years, seeing him in such a state, I felt a pang of sadness, especially when I saw that even now, he still had some classmate loyalty, wanting to warn me off gambling. I was a bit moved. Bro, my reputation at school is probably ruined. I know my words don't mean much, but I called you here today because I still have some conscience. Zhang Yu took a deep breath and looked up. Bro, don't do it. You don't know how nasty those people are. You see what happened to me. I don't want the same for you. Hearing this, I knew he genuinely cared. Though making money was my priority, I knew gambling is mostly a scam. Even if I could see people's desire lists, or even see through dice or cards, who's to say the casino won't cheat? So I said, I'm not gambling. I just want to ask you, what do rich people usually do after gambling? Gambling is a mindset. A big shot once said, men don't have to gamble money, but they must have a gambling spirit. Business success is a gamble. Wooing women is a gamble. Entering an industry is a gamble. Men with a gambling spirit are worth knowing. Tonight, I'll use that to gamble on my own future. Of course, for me, the odds of winning this bet are almost 100%. Usually, whether they win or lose, they go to a club to unwind. Both winners and losers? Yeah. Winners celebrate. Losers try to shake off bad luck. Hearing this, I leaned back in my chair and sighed. Rich people sure have their ways. Zhang Yu continued. When it comes to gambling, I know every underground spot in Shanghai. Bro, you've come to the right guy. I was thinking, as I got up to leave, with Zhang Yu chattering behind me. Zhang Yu, how much money do you have now? Zhang Yu's face turned wary at the mention of money. Why do you ask? I almost slapped him on the head. Without capital, how do we make money? Zhang Yu was cursing in his head. I can't touch this money. I scraped it together to pay off debts. I need to pay at least 10,000 tonight, or they'll cut off my left hand. Lend me 12,000. I'll give you 100,000. If I don't make 100,000, they can cut off my hand. I wasn't polite with him. Soon, we arrived at a luxury restaurant. Bro, I'm warning you. The people here are all rich and powerful. Don't offend anyone. Anyone at all. I smiled slightly. I said I'm not gambling. Relax. For some reason, Zhang Yu looked at my confident face and felt uneasy. We waited at the entrance until around 8. Zhang Yu kept telling me the club's rules. At 8. Luxury cars lined up in front of the restaurant. All kinds of long-legged beauties clung to tycoons as they got out. Watching this, my smile grew wider. Once inside, the unique fragrance of a luxury hotel hit us. The lobby was full of so-called high-end people resting or chatting. Each had 1 or 2, 6 or 7 out of 10 beauties by their side. Zhang Yu pointed to a hidden door behind the elevator. The real place is downstairs. Those 2 at the door are security. Starting trouble here is almost impossible, I nodded. I casually scanned the people in the hall. 2 pot-bellied middle-aged men chatted idly with wine glasses. Funny thing, their wish lists were almost identical. Both had their eyes on each other's female companions. They wanted to swap but were too embarrassed to ask, so they just made small talk about nothing. Some wore watches worth hundreds of thousands. They looked perfectly refined, but their wish lists were full of one dirty secret after another. Shameful little schemes hidden from sight. This scene gave me a strange feeling. The more high-class these people seemed, the more low-class they were, and the less they hid their primal desires. We waited until most people had gone inside. Zhang Yu then walked over from the side, holding a bottle of red wine. It looked a bit cheap. He nudged my arm. Bro, over 6,000 for this one bottle. I nodded. After passing the security check at the door, led by a waiter, we went through a long, luxurious corridor. Turning the corner, we finally entered the underground hall. It was already packed with people. The rich folks who pretended to have class outside now looked like wild beasts. Every face was written with all kinds of wishes. Nearly 30 bunny girls were dealing cards. They wore miniskirts and fishnets. Besides that, there were many beautiful women in the casino, holding wine glasses, looking around. They were lie snakes raising their heads. On the casino's monitor screen, Zhang Yu and I sat at an open table. Jiang Yang, watching from a private booth, was surprised. She was the only daughter of the richest family in the city. In this high-end underground club, young people were rare. Even if rich playboys came, she knew them all. But she'd never seen this man on screen. We only had a bottle of wine worth over 6,000. That was the cheapest in the club. And you had to spend to enter. So we basically just bought a ticket, meaning I wasn't some wealthy businessman playing rich. Jiang Yan's cold, beautiful face suddenly showed a hint of interest. Here to pick up girls? Not only was Jiang Yan curious about me, even the women around the club had looks of contempt. They whispered to each other. One woman even came up to me. Handsome, 6,000 isn't much, but don't waste it. Give it to me, and I'll make you het pie all night. I ignored their stares. Instead, I looked at the wish lists of these rich people. Finally, I found a target. I picked up a glass of red wine and walked toward a corner booth. A tall, thin man in decent clothes was drinking with 2 girls in his arms. As I got closer, I confirmed his list again. Name, Zhang Bin. Wishes. First on the list. Sell this batch of steel quickly, even at a loss. Don't let it sit. Second, only a few thousand left. Tonight, I'll splurge one last time. Third, if I can't sell in a week, I'll have to go back to farming. I sat down next to him naturally. Zhang Bin frowned. This was his last indulgence, and some clueless kid had to bother him. Can I help you? I replied, mind letting your ladies leave for a bit? Zhang Bin was annoyed. Just say what you want. I sighed. I'm trying to save you from embarrassment in front of them. Zhang Bin sat up angrily, his wandering hands pulled back. Get lost, I'm not interested in you. I swirled my wine glass and said slowly, you've only got a few thousand left, right? And you're still wasting it here? Zhang Bin's arrogant expression vanished. He couldn't say a word. The girl beside him saw his reaction, and said with some disgust, didn't you say you'd take me abroad, and buy me lots of bags? Of course, he reassured her. Then he turned to me. Who the hell are you? Keep talking nonsense, and I'll call security. I replied calmly, I can buy all your steel tonight. Zhang Bin perked up. How do you know? I didn't answer, just glanced at the girl beside him. Zhang Bin caught on immediately. The girl was reluctant, but she knew not to cut off her sugar daddy's income. After she left, Zhang Bin scooted closer. Kid, doesn't matter what your name is. Just tell me how much you've got. 9,000 tons. Market price 4,100 a ton. I thought to myself. I didn't know the current price, but it didn't matter, so I said, what if I can get you cash right now? Give me your best price. Zhang Bin thought for a moment. 3,880, the lowest on the market. I countered. 3,500. That's too much of a loss. Think it over yourself. I stood up to leave. Zhang Bin quickly stopped me. Wait, kid, let me think. He was now in bargaining mode. The 9,000 tons of steel had been sitting for months. No suitable buyer. He bought it at 3,850. He just hoped to break even, but I cut it by 300. That meant he'd lose a few million. Still better than being stuck with it. So he gritted his teeth. All right, kid, if you're not bluffing, and I see the money tonight, 3,500 it is. I smiled. But I have one condition. I'll give you an address later. You ship it immediately. Zhang Bin heard that, and felt I was more reliable. Shipping a day earlier meant saving a day's storage fee. He couldn't ask for more. He nodded quickly. No problem. I'll get ready now. Just tell me the address. As long as it's in the city, I can deliver in half an hour. Wait here for me. My assistant will bring you the address. I left after saying that. I left the red wine on the table. A clear signal that I'd be back. He called his workers to prepare. Zhang Bin finally realized. How did this kid know about his unsold steel? I didn't go far. I sat down at another corner booth, across from a middle-aged man, looking dejected, eyes empty, no women with him. This was my chosen prey. Name, Wang Cheng. Wish list first. If I can't find 10,000 tons of steel, they'll kill me. Second, finish this job and quit. Too much pressure. Third, don't let my wife and kids know my situation. Looking at you. I won't beat around the bush. Hearing my words, Wang Cheng looked at me with drunken eyes. He shook his head and kept drinking alone. I continued. I can supply you with 9,000 tons of steel. That hit him like a thunderbolt. Wang Cheng sobered up halfway. How do you know I need steel? I smiled. A friend of yours introduced me, but that's not important. What matters is I can deliver tomorrow. Wang Cheng sat up straight, slipping on some spilled wine. Kid, don't mess with me. How can I trust you? This isn't a game. His bot had given him money, saying the project couldn't stop. Buy as soon as there's a chance. But my words alone proved nothing. Give me an address. I'll ship now, and you'll see it. But I have a condition. Price is 4,610 a ton, and pay in full on delivery in half an hour. Someone will sign a contract with you tomorrow. Wang Cheng was suspicious. Full payment? This must be a scam. But then he thought, if I could really move that much steel, full payment was fine. 4,600 was a good price. Alright, I'll give you the address now. He sent it to me. I forwarded it to Zhang Yu, telling him to give it to Zhang Bin, and say nothing. Zhang Yu downed a drink, walked straight to Zhang Bin, and placed the address in front of him. Zhang Bin immediately called his workers to dispatch. Meanwhile, in the booth, Jiang Yao was swinging her leg. Her high heel finally slipped off, landing on the carpet. Interesting. After a moment of thought, Jiang Yaoan put on her shoes and stood up. Her bodyguard followed. Don't follow me, she said with slight disgust, then left the booth. The door slammed shut. The bodyguard's respectful look vanished. He glanced at the carpet she'd stepped on. His eyes filled with lust. 2 more days. In 2 days, you'll beg me. He hid his malice, and kept watching Jiang Yaoan. Step by step, she walked toward me. Besides Jiang Yaoan, some escort girls were also watching me. 2 young women at the far end of the hall saw me. I was their biggest catch of the night. They were twin sisters, Lu Yanxi and Lu Yanmeng. Unlike the other scantily clad escorts, these twins dressed with class. In other words, other women came to find clients, but they looked like rich girls, out for fun. They seemed young. About 20 years old. Sister Lu Yanxi wore a plain white t-shirt, with skinny jeans and heels. Sister Lu Yanmeng dressed the same. They were the top beauties in the underground casino. Not as stunning as Jiang Yaoan, but they matched any other woman. From their looks, they were clearly very interested in me. They'd been quietly following me, sitting at the table next to mine, for new faces and prey. They were always eager. The 2 sisters smiled at each other, just as they were about to walk to my table. Their smiles froze. They saw Jiang Yaoan, the ice queen who ignored everyone, walking out of her private booth, heading straight for my table. Soon, she sat down at my table, staring at me intently. I felt someone watching me. I turned and saw Jiang Yang at my table, but I didn't care. I just sat there, looking at the middle-aged man in front of me. We sat in silence. The man was nervous. If I was telling the truth, I'd saved his life. But if I was lying, he didn't know what to do next. Half an hour passed quickly. The man's excited voice finally came. Here's 10 million, kid. Trek it. Seeing this, Lu Yanxi and Lu Yanmeng gritted their teeth. A deal made in half an hour, earning nearly 10 million. Even the stock market, known for miracles, couldn't do that. The only 2 places where this could happen were the lottery center or a casino. Sis, don't worry. Who is Jiang Yaoan? Why would she be interested in that guy? As long as he's not her man, it doesn't matter. Lu Yanmeng gritted her teeth, ran her fingers through her hair, and took her sister's hand, walking toward me. For a moment, both sisters and Jiang Yaoan had their eyes on me. Zhang Bin, who'd received my payment, his hands were shaking. Kid, you're my lifesaver. If you ever need anything, bro, no. From today, you're the bot. Just call me if you need anything. He handed me a business card, bowed, and left. Watching him go, Jiang Yu was stunned. In 3 years since he first came here, he'd never felt what so much money was like. Just then, I saw Jiang Yaoan walking toward me. A woman like her. What kind of wish list would she have? Next, I took out my phone, and sent Zhang Yu $1 million. Pay off your debts. Consider it interest on the 6,000 you lent me for the wine. Zhang Yu was shocked. He couldn't say a word. Alright, enjoy yourself tonight. Watch other people's lives. I waved my hand. I didn't think much of it, but everyone else was jealous. Wow, this handsome guy is so generous. If I could just spend a night with him, I'd probably get 10 or 20,000. Jiang Yuan, in a black backless dress, finally reached us. Others glanced at her, and stepped aside. Interesting. The old man's granddaughter is coming for him. If he's up to something, he's done for. Done for? What? Being at the same table as a woman lied Jiang Yuan. He'd be laughing even as a ghost. People around were envious or gloating. The twins, Lu Yanxi and Lu Yanmeng, had quietly stood beside me. Besides Jiang Yuan, they were as good as any woman there. I couldn't help but smile. If this were yesterday, I wouldn't have dared to think about these women. But now, everything was different. Jiang Yuan's wish list. First, solve the club's biggest crisis. Second, uncover this kid's secret. Without hesitation, as I waited for her to speak, I already saw all of Jiang Yuan's wishes, unlike anyone else's. In all the lists I'd seen, hers was the simplest. Luo Qingxue, the campus goddess. Last time I was with her, her list had 50 or 60 items. My old classmate and brother, Zhang Yu, had over 30. On average, men had about 30. Women usually had about 60. But Jiang Yuan only had 4. Third, if I have to marry. Before marriage, I'll travel with some random man, give away my first time, then reveal it after marriage, to shame the man who wants to possess me, and his entire family. Fourth, after all that, end my short life at sea. After reading this, I looked up at Jiang Yuan again, her beautiful, icy face, and felt disbelief. No wonder her list was so short. She wanted to die. This was bad. I heard Zhang Yu's voice, but I kept looking at Jiang Yuan. For whatever reason, her beautiful eyes were watching me with amusement, because from the moment she appeared, I never avoided her gaze. Interesting. What's your name? She suddenly smiled. That smile made every man nearby weak in the knees. After checking my balance, I stretched, stood up and said casually, I'm leaving. Boring. What? She talked to him, and he's so rude? Does he have a death wish? Ignoring everyone's shocked looks, I brushed off my cheap shirt. Zhang Yu, get a room. Let's have some fun tonight. For Zhang Yu, even if I told him to kneel and kowtow 3 times, he'd do it. Jiang Yuan never expected I'd be so clueless. Are you playing me? But I ignored her. I looked around and naturally saw Lu Yanxi and Lu Yanmeng. Perfect timing, sisters, I thought, and said, I'm having my bro get a room upstairs. Want to come up for some wine? I looked them up and down. Lu Yanxi was surprised, then laughed. Handsome, aren't you being a bit greedy? Are you sure you want both of us? Before she finished, her sister Lu Yanmeng agreed with a smile. Sure, just chatting though. I smirked. So this is what money feels like. I gave a challenging look at the stunned Jiang Yang. Then, with one arm around each sister, I turned and left the hall. For half a minute after I left, the hall was dead silent. Everyone was stunned. That's too bold. After a while, Jiang Yuan finally recovered. She looked away from where I'd gone. She had a rough idea about me. She didn't know how I knew about the deal, but she knew it wasn't just luck. Young, handsome, bold, and the way I handled money didn't seem like a poor kid. I was clearly more than I appeared. More importantly, in my eyes, she felt like she was completely exposed, seen through and through. In the silence, Jiang Yuan's smile grew. I don't believe it. With my looks and body, offered for fry, you'd still say no? On the other side, I left the casino with the twins. Zhang Yu was thrilled. He had over $1 million in his card. After paying off 500,000 in loans, he'd have plenty left. Room keys here. I'm next door. Call me if you need anything. He handed me a black 6AI Pi room card. Then, with some escort he'd found, got on the elevator. Minutes later, I took the twins into the room Zhang Yu had booked. The room was big and modern, luxurious everywhere. Lu Yanxi walked in, tossed her bag on the sofa, one hand on the wall, the other took off her heels, and threw them in front of me. Then the sisters sat across from me, smiling. Remember, just drinking, Lu Yanmeng said with a smirk. They'd seen rich guys lie me before. The more aloof they acted, the more those guys wanted to conquer them. Now, they were using the same trick, always tempting me, but always pushing me away. Most men couldn't resist. Too bad I saw through their game. I got a bottle of wine from the fridge, smiling as I let it breathe. Name, Lu Yanxi. Wish list, first, see her sister marry the man she loves. Second, own a house by the sea. Have enough money to open a flower shop. Lie a simple life. I skimmed the dozens of other items. Most were trivial. Lie buying shoes. Or a certain brand of bag. Name, Lu Yanmeng. Wish list. First, meet a man who doesn't just want her looks. Lie an ordinary life. I glanced at the dozens of items below. Most of them are trivial. Lie what shoes to buy, or what brand of bag to get. The first item on the name list alliance wish list. Hope to meet someone who doesn't covet my looks, but to marry a man who truly loves her soul. Second, help my sister gather enough money for her medical expenses. Third, take this guy in front of me for a ride. She looks like she's loaded. Seeing this, I was a bit speechless. My sister's wish list didn't seem too bad. At least she doesn't look like a bad woman. But my sister's third wish left me helpless. Do I really look like some brainless rich pretty boy? And she wants to take me for a ride. But her second wish caught my interest. I quickly understood. It must be that her sister, Liu Yanxi, has some bad illness. That's why the two sisters came to this place to make money. But knowing that, I just let it be. I'm not interested in them for now. What I'm interested in is the one downstairs right now, Jiang Yuan, who's having a fierce internal struggle. Now I just need to chat and drink with the two sisters, and quietly wait for Jiang Yuan to come to me. The only thing I don't know is when Jiang Yuan will actually show up. 2 hours later, in the hotel's underground private room, the usually icy Jiang Yuan now looked a bit anxious. It's time to find a chance to go to her. Jiang Yuan bit her lower lip. I'll wait another 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, I'll find a chance to slip up. Jiang Yuan was already prepared. At worst, when I enter the room, I'll see 2 women and 1 man lying in bed. Anyway, she had already decided, so she might as well go all out. Thinking this, she glanced at the bodyguard at the door. At the same time, she took off her high heels and changed into a pair of pure white cotton slippers. Li Gue, I think I left my engagement ring on the table earlier. I need to go look for it. As soon as 10 minutes were up, Jiang Yuan suddenly stood up and pretended she really had lost her ring. Miss, it's better if you stay here. I'll go find it for you. The bodyguard named Li Gue immediately checked the surveillance, then turned and walked toward that table. Jiang Yuan gently pinched the hem of her black backless dress, revealing her beautiful, fair, slender legs with no trace of fat. Earlier, she had secretly asked the hotel attendant upstairs and learned I was in room 2119. Watching Li Gue walk toward the table, Jiang Yuan silently slipped out of the private room, then left directly through the back door. Meanwhile, in room 2119, the two sisters were already gone. An hour ago, that bottle of red wine was finished. Since I had to wait for Jiang Yuan, I left my contact info and sent them off. As they left, the sisters were confused, because ever since they entered the room, I had been polite, just drinking and chatting with them. It was like I was a completely different person from the one who was wild in the club earlier. This made them very disappointed. Even as they sat in the elevator going down, they were still seriously thinking about one question. Was our charm not enough, or was she not good enough? Meanwhile, sitting in the room, bored out of my mind, I picked up my phone and started chatting with Luo Qingxue, who had just finished her interview. What are you doing? I replied, eating. Then I'm going to watch Amu 6. Pfft, are you trying to pick up some other girl again? No, I'm about to watch Amu 6. After saying that, I sighed. For a man, lying has to become a habit. The richer you get, the more natural your lies have to be. Well, enjoy your Mu 6. Think of me. Luo Qingxue even added an emoji at the end of that sentence. Thinking about last night when we played duo, my mouth went dry, but I still said, why should I think of you? We don't have any relationship. 5 minutes later, Luo Qingxue replied, Sue, listen to me. From today on, you are my secret duo partner. That's our relationship. Seeing this, I was stunned. This silly girl, saying that, did she actually fulfill her wish from her list? I shook my head and smiled, about to reply. The next moment, I froze. The door to room 2119 was knocked on. I had to go to the door. As soon as I opened it, I saw Jiang Yuan, whom countless people desired. Sure enough, she had delivered herself to my door. Now she was standing right in front of me, looking lovely. Jiang Yuan was breathing a little heavily. Unlike the two sisters earlier, she didn't have so many schemes. She had always been straightforward since childhood. After I opened the door, I looked her over from head to toe. At the same time, a smile curled on my lips. Miss Jiang, is there something? What about those two sisters from earlier? Jiang Yuan adjusted her breathing and glanced a few times behind me. Even though she was already prepared, she still didn't really want to see those two women, who weren't on her level, in my room. You came just in time. They just left. I knew Jiang Yuan was about to implement her so-called plan, so I stepped aside and let her in. After closing the door, I leaned against it, with a half-smile on my face. After she entered the room, she picked up the half-finished glass of red wine on the table and downed it. Then, under my gaze, she tied up her long hair, revealing her beautiful collarbone. What's up, Miss Jiang? Is there something? I asked again. She took a deep breath, then looked at me and spoke. Do you want to duo with me? Det, I said honestly. Then take me away. I'll give you 1 day. You can do whatever you want. After saying that, Jiang Yuan looked at me challengingly. Do you dare? At that moment, I clearly saw Jiang Yuan's wish list. The first one had already updated. Spend a crazy day with this jerk before marriage. If I can get pregnant, that would be even more perfect. After seeing Jiang Yuan's wish list, I was left speechless. It seems no matter what I actually do, the label of jerk is already set in stone. Through Jiang Yuan's wish list, I could roughly understand a bit about her current situation, that she was already engaged to some big shot in the city. Maybe after she marries this person, she can save her family's casino, but just lie her icy image. A woman as proud as an eagle. How could she be so easily manipulated? So she came up with this crazy revenge plan. Even if she has to marry that man, she wants to humiliate him, make him wear a green hat that can never be wiped off. Interesting. Looking at the Ice Queen in front of me, I slowly uttered these two words. But if I fulfill Jiang Yuan's current wish, how many desire points would I get? Thinking of this, I put on a playboy look and said, if I want to take you away, does that mean, in this situation, we need to go on the run? Jiang Yuan took a deep breath. Her beautiful collarbone rose and fell slightly. Det, to a place no one can find. Then I'll be yours. But as she said that, she tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. Send me back after 24 hours. My gaze moved from bottom to top, slowly moving up from her ankle. Seeing the black dress hem she was clutching tightly, I said, change your clothes. That outfit might not be convenient. Oh ko, Jiang Yuan said, her eyes fixed on me, and there was no retreat in her gaze. Often, between men and women, it's a game. Whoever loses might keep losing forever. For Jiang Yuan, that was absolutely unbearable. So, right in front of me, she slipped off her black backless dress. Although she looked very casual on the surface, I could still see the goosebumps appearing on her skin. I frowned slightly. So you do get nervous after all. Why pretend to be so indifferent? Jiang Yuan didn't back down. Then you're still going to have me in the end. Why are you choosing not to look now? After Jiang Yuan changed into her pajamas, she looked up and asked me, they're probably looking for me by now. What's your plan? At that moment, I was leaning on the sofa, trying to take Jiang Yuan away from her territory. It was a bit difficult, because the one who knows this place best isn't me, it's her. Do you have a car? No. Jiang Yuan rolled her eyes at me. She had always had a dedicated driver since she was a child. She had never even touched a steering wheel. I snuck out. My bodyguard is probably looking for me everywhere by now. According to his habits, once he confirms the surveillance devices in various places, and finds out I haven't left the hotel, he can immediately follow the hotel's surveillance, until he sees me enter your room. This will probably take about 10 minutes. As she said that, she raised her fair arm, and looked at her expensive watch. Barring any surprises, you have only 3 minutes left. Jiang Yuan seemed calm on the surface, but she was actually extremely anxious. If she doesn't get a chance to run today, her surveillance will be even stricter from now on. Maybe she'll never get another chance to take revenge. After Jiang Yuan finished speaking, the air in the room almost froze. Meanwhile, I was communicating with the system in my mind, using the points from helping Luo Qingxue fulfill her wish to draw a prize. Start the draw. Congratulations, host. You've obtained the thief skill. Congratulations, host. You've obtained the combat mastery skill. Congratulations, host. You've obtained a Bugatti Veyron. Congratulations, host. You've obtained the body modification potion. After saying all this, it fell silent. I finally breathed a sigh of relief. The next moment, I felt a soft buzz in my head. Then a flood of skill information rushed into my brain. Let's go. I'll take you for a ride. After saying that, I stood up from the sofa, and extended my right hand to Jiang Yuan. At the same time, next door, Zhang Yu was lying on the luxurious big bed. Today felt like a dream to him. Looking at the remaining hundreds of thousands in his oatsao, his mind was full of thoughts. After a while, he took his bank card and walked out of the room. As soon as he left the room, he saw me coming out of mine. Bro, I was just about to find you. How was it? Were those two sisters exciting? As he said that, he had a knowing smile on his face. But the next moment, his smile froze. He thought the one coming out behind me would be Lu Yanqi, or one of the Lu sisters. Even if both of them came out at the same time, Zhang Yu wouldn't have found it strange. But now, he looked as shocked as if someone had him by the throat. Bro, because the one coming out behind me was Jiang Yuan, wearing white cotton pajamas. She smiled slightly when she saw Zhang Yu. Your friend seems a bit surprised. I just looked helpless, but there was no time to explain much. Go back to your room and rest. If anyone asks, say you don't know. Zhang Yu looked completely confused. He slapped himself hard, then muttered to himself, no, I must have gotten out of bed wrong. I looked at him, both annoyed and amused. Remember, don't tell anyone that you saw us. After saying that, I took Jiang Yuan's hand. We didn't take the elevator, but went through the emergency fire exit, until Jiang Yuan and I disappeared from sight. Zhang Yu finally blinked. At the entrance of the underground club, a man in a black suit ran over to Li Gui. All the surveillance has been checked. Miss hasn't left the hotel. She should still be inside the hotel. Li Gui squinted his eyes. Still in the hotel? Does she think she can just run away from the marriage? Just then, Li Gui's walkie-talkie rang. rang. The hotel's surveillance footage has been retrieved. Miss went to room 2119 earlier. About 3 minutes have passed. Take the men up and split into 2 groups. One group takes the stairs, the other takes the elevator. Bring her down. Li Gui breathed a sigh of relief, thinking of that icy and aloof woman. He forcibly suppressed the greed in his heart. Wait, I'll go up myself. In the hallway of the Jinhua Midu Hotel, tense footsteps could be heard. Jiang Yan leaned close to me. Her mind was in turmoil. She didn't know if she regretted it or found it thrilling. The sound of many people rushing up the stairs came from below. No need to think too much. Jiang Yan knew it was Li Gui's security team. Can't escape after all? She sighed. So it seems you won't get a chance to have me. I listened carefully to their footsteps and spoke again. I don't think so. After saying that, I looked at her with some curiosity, because I noticed Jiang Yan's wish list seemed to be changing constantly. Now her first wish had changed to successfully leave the hotel, and the earlier one about spending a crazy day with this jerk had moved to second place. Clearly, compared to taking revenge on him, her so-called fiancé, escaping the hotel first, was more urgent for her. I thought about it for a moment. If this is how it works, people's wish lists really do change any time. That means, the time each person's wish list gives me, isn't forever. Some things, if I can't complete them before they change their minds, they might disappear. I knew my system probably had more information I hadn't uncovered, but the current situation didn't allow me to think too much. The footsteps from the stairs below were getting closer. Jiang Yan sighed deeply. As if she had resigned herself, she said calmly, "Don't be stubborn. Let it be." Although she did want to use me to humiliate her fiancé, if we couldn't leave the hotel, then it was all just a fantasy. She composed herself a little. Her tone returned to its usual coldness. "I'll wait for them here. You go to your friend's room and hide for a while. They only know I want to run, but they don't know my specific plan, so they probably won't bother you." I shook my head and smiled. I suddenly realized that Jiang Yan wasn't a bad person at heart, at least at a time like this. Her first thought was not to drag me into it. Thinking of this, I reached out and put my arm around her slender waist. This intimate move made Jiang Yan frown. He really is a complete jerk. After I put my arm around her waist, although I felt her body tense up, I still recklessly sniffed gently behind her earlobe and neck. "Smells nice." After saying that, I let go and walked straight down the stairs. Jiang Yan was stunned by my earlier boldness, especially when I was behind her neck. Her whole body had almost gone weak. In her 22 years of life, no man had ever been this close to her. How bold. But she quickly snapped out of it, watching my retreating figure. "Are you an idiot? You're going the wrong way. You should be going upstairs." Jiang Yan tried to call me back, but suddenly realized she didn't even know my name. What an idiot, a brainless playboy. Annoyed, Jiang Yan quickly followed. About 10 seconds later, from a spot very close below on the stairs, a painful grunt suddenly sounded. Then it seemed like someone fell straight down through the gap in the stairs. Jiang Yan's heart sank. She knew very well what level of experts the security personnel were. Even the weakest among them were retired special forces. These people usually don't act, but when they do, it's serious. She looked down through the gap in the stairs, and could see the floors below. Some floors had dim emergency lights on, others were pitch black. A series of dull thuds, accompanied by the flickering emergency lights, and occasional screams. This scene, which usually only appeared in movies, made Jiang Yan start to worry about my fate. Damn it, I don't even know his name. Why am I worried about his safety? As she hurried down, holding the railing, she found a reasonable explanation for herself. "I'm just being kind. I don't want an innocent person to lose their life because of me." But after turning a corner on the stairs, her whole body trembled. The next moment, her hands covered her mouth, because she saw 2 men lying haphazardly at the corner. Men she recognized. Not me, but the club's security guards. They had all been knocked unconscious. At the same time, the grunts from below stopped abruptly. A lazy, familiar voice came from below. "Miss Jiang, if you're done being shocked, we should go." Hearing this, Jiang Yan's mind immediately conjured up my face, which looked like a jerk's but was kind of handsome. After meeting up on the first floor stairwell of the hotel, she saw me holding a security guard's walkie-talkie, and the walkie-talkie crackled with chaotic voices. Jiang Yan could vaguely hear panicked conversations. "They've gone down the stairs. He's very strong. Everyone, head to the underground parking lot immediately. He's already taken down 7 of our guys." Jiang Yan looked at my face, filled with intense curiosity. Who was this man she had chosen? Who was he? After a short while, I took Jiang Yan's hand and pushed open the door from the first floor stairwell. "Why are we here? I told you I don't have the car keys. Unless you can steal a car besides fighting." Jiang Yan was being pulled by me, and kept complaining. At the same time, she felt a thrill deep inside. She had grown up in a very well-mannered family. There were rules for eating, and rules for sleeping. For over 20 years, Jiang Yuan's life had been almost exactly the same every day. Wake up, eat, learn piano, learn gambling, learn dance, learn etiquette. Everything was to mold her into someone else's perfect wife. After today ends, tomorrow will be the same. So she had developed a longing to break the rules of life, and the thrill in front of her was a scene she had dreamed of countless times. If we can escape, I will do even more unimaginable things to her. Thinking of this, Jiang Yuan's heart began to pound. She had a pinhole camera hidden in her pajamas. All her plans for today. This camera was the most important thing. No matter how I would torment or humiliate her, in the next 24 hours, she would record it all. And the more humiliating, the better. Only then, when her so-called fiancé sees the 6DO on their wedding night, that green hat would be big enough and shocking enough. As for herself, she didn't care anymore. After all this is done, she would wear a sacred white wedding dress, on a sailboat drifting in the deep sea, and end her own life. I was unaware of Jiang Yuan's inner thoughts at that moment. After arriving at the underground parking lot, I kept looking for the Bugatti Veyron the system had given me, but there were too many cars here. After a moment, a pleasant car unlocking sound came from the deepest part of the parking lot. So you do have a car, Jiang Yuan said, crossing her arms. It's a bit dirty. I didn't say anything. Instead, I put away the car key, grabbed the car cover with one hand, and pulled it down hard. Then a brand new silver gray Bugatti Veyron appeared in front of us. I stepped forward, gently opened the passenger door, and made a gentlemanly please gesture. Just a car, don't laugh. Seeing my smug look, Jiang Yuan wanted to bite my ear off. This guy definitely has a background. We quickly got into the car. At that moment, about 15 to 20 security personnel had all rushed into the underground parking lot. Jiang Yuan's personal bodyguard, Li Gue, was among them. His sharp eyes were searching everywhere, and he also tried a verbal attack to break Jiang Yuan's resolve. Miss, you don't need to hide. No matter what, you can't leave. After saying this, the underground parking lot remained silent. He spoke again. The old man is furious. If the Chen family finds out that you ran off with another man just days before the wedding, you know what the consequences will be for him. By the way, the old man also said. Li Gue paused for a moment, then said, he said, no matter what, your marriage to the Chen family is set in stone. Even if you die, he will send your corpse to the Chen family. After he said this, the noisy security guards all fell silent. Forced by life, they had to rely on the wealthy. I thought I'd seen plenty of dirty tricks, but those words still struck the security guards. In wealthy families, is it only about profit? No true feelings? In the silence, a dazzling light suddenly flashed in the parking lot corner. Then came the roar of an engine. It seemed to vent anger at Li Gue's last words. Li Gue spun toward the engine sound. Then he saw a silver gray Bugatti coming from afar. It felt like it would run him over in an instant. He tried to dodge, but his body wouldn't react. He only had time to raise his arm until the screech of brakes sounded. The sleek, elegant car stopped half a meter in front of him. Cold sweat dripped down Li Gue's forehead. He squinted against the blinding headlights. Through blurred vision, he vaguely saw a handsome man inside. I had a playful smile on my lips. I pulled Jiang Yuan from the passenger seat close. Through my lips, Li Gue saw me clearly say, don't you dare run. Then the engine roared again. He chickened out. This time, he dove to the right onto the ground, rolling several times. His black suit and hair were covered in dust. The silver Bugatti had already sped away, leaving only dust swirling in the basement. He was careless. Who is he? Li Gue instantly flew into a rage. He was furious because the other party provoked him. And another reason. The man had openly embraced Jiang Yuan, who was promised to the Chen family. She would eventually be his. Chase him, he roared. Li Gue scrambled up from the ground, shouting at the security guards